there would have been a real danger of going, okay, I've made it now. I'll just sit back and watch it. But I don't think that's ever in my nature anyway. We're always, between Charlie and Ash and I, we're always trying to tweak little bits around the edges to make sure it's always good. And we do beat ourselves up about, you get the odd 1-star review when someone doesn't like it, and you really sift it out and see what's happened and work out whether you can make things better. And we're constantly and always doing that. And I don't think that's going to change.
So you just when you get those bad reviews, because I think part of anyone who does something well, especially like in a creative pursuit, you've got to have a sort of mendacious little thug in your head saying that shit.
I think I do that. I do have that, and
really?
it can be quite annoying at times. And you lie awake at night going, there's people waiting at the bar the other day for like 2-3 minutes at one stage. How do we pull that cork out of the bottle so they don't have to do it, and think, do you put an extra member of staff on, or do you increase the flow rate of the beer? Do we need more taps? Do we need to do this? And like, we spent a lot of capex on increasing volume on the bar in particular.
So when you say capex, sorry,
so cash basically,
right? Yeah.
on doing things, and same in the kitchen with bits of equipment and moving stuff around and thinking about how people flow through the building and taking tables out here, putting them in there, moving stuff around, making the zones a bit more comfortable where we can. And obviously you can see the green room continues to sort of change and evolve and turn into something. And I think that's probably a symptom of what our brains are like, that we will always try and add incremental little bits in where we can.
What are some of those? Because I completely agree. It's that, and I've got that voice in my head. Well, I listen to a podcast back, and I'm like, that was shit. I can't even know. I've done 100 of these. I listen back to it, and I'm like, that I can't. I should have asked that. And as I said to you when we did this last one, I was like, what? As I was walking out, I was like, fuck's sake, you didn't ask about the artwork.
Yeah,
it's one of the most interesting bits about this place. But yeah, what are some of those little 1 or 2% tweaks that have then had in your opinion, a massive change?
Do you know what? It's a really interesting question, that, because each one on its own doesn't make much difference. It's when they're all there that all of a sudden you feel in a different place, And I can say that, we put the Guinness Zero in, or we added in an extra Budvar tap, or we changed the configuration of the fridges so that the wine was closer to where. And each one is like minimal, it makes a tiny difference. But when you do 50 of them, then there's the difference.
Yes.
And I thought I could probably. They're all boring things, if I'm honest with you.
Yeah. But
they are things.
But the way between the three of you, because I think we talked last time about your chaos, Charlie's order, and Ashley's perfection. I love that sort of that.
But it's so true.
Trio,
and I'm not saying it happened totally by accident, but somehow that balance works between the three of us. And I think, we get on, we're really tight, we're really close, but I think my chaos definitely frustrates the other two. Their perfection definitely frustrates me sometimes, but we need it. You need that sort of three balances in there.
But that voice in your head, was what I'm trying to get into, is that sort of, as I said, that sort of just that thing that says that's not good, which is so ironic, because that's what you need to create something super successful.
I don't know. It seems whether you do need it or not, it definitely kind of.
What does it sound like to you, that voice?
Oh, I mean, it's always there. It's like a monotone in the background. I'm looking around the room now, looking and saying that picture is slightly wonky. I need to move that coffee cup. The phone over there is just like 2 degrees out. I've always got this stuff going on, and I try and, when I see things, do them straight away or as quickly as I can. Yeah. So the impact's there, and it's about taking away sort of silent irritants, things that irritate you in the eye or in one of your senses that you don't necessarily vocalize. They're the things that make the difference.
Yes.
And we look at those all the time, or try to look at those all the time. Music been too loud or not loud enough. Or, things like a lingering smell in the background that's only just perceptible. You never go, oh, I don't like the smell in here. But in your head, you got it there. And it can lead to kind of a negative thought about the business. And I'm always watching out for those things.
But that negative thought is what makes it better. I remember I listened to a podcast of Stormzy when he came off the stage at Glastonbury, absolutely fucking smashed it. came off the stage, like literally everyone was like going, "This is sick."
Yeah.
He came off the stage, started crying. He was like, "That was shit."
Yeah.
And it's like that little voice in your head going, "Oh, I didn't hit that note. I didn't hit that note."
Yeah.
Loads of comedians.
I'll get that.
Yeah, loads of comedians. There's this comedian Stavros, I've forgotten his second name, hilarious guy, and he was saying that he'd released his special on Netflix and he'd wished he'd give it another 4 more months. But the special went absolutely insane. But it's that creative. I think you can't have creativity without, as I say, like a voice in your head that's just telling you, looking for the bad things.
Well, I think I've got great sympathy for creative people who do performances and do one thing like that. I mean, that Stormzy thing, I'd beat myself up like mad about that.
Yeah,
You know,
same.
even if everyone's telling me it's great. And the problem he's got is he's only got one chance to do it. Whereas we're doing it every day and we're always adding, you know, even if we had 0.0001% every day over a long period, you're getting an improvement. And I like feeling those improvements.
How do you think, like, because obviously we got here super early, say like 6 a.m. and you see the sort of the underbelly of the place. You know, you've got the guy cleaning the floor.
Yeah.
We were talking about that, and I think going through London, it's like that film, 28 Days Later, you know, first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
Feels like there's a fucking apocalypse. There's people sweeping the streets.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
come in, it's just
clearing away the aftermath.
Yeah, exactly. That was it. Yeah, yeah.
And it does feel like a performance, doesn't
so
it?
like how would you say, as I said, we're just going with the flow here, like I'm just following my curiosity, but how would you say the build up of the Devonshire is like a sort of theatrical performance? We're surrounded by theatre around here.
I don't know. I always try and find the odd sort of synergy between what we do and the creative industries, but that's just my natural leaning.
Yeah.
And I kind of love it that we get painters, artists, poets, filmmakers, songwriters, singers, performers. All of those people can kind of come in here, and we buzz off that because there's a great feeling of, you know, doing something that's making people feel good.
Yes,
You know, and that's really what this room is about.
And when you said you borrow from the creative and arts, I know there's like lots of like sing-alongs in here. Like,
Yeah.
what are some of those one or two things you kind of pull from there and weave into the way you run this place? Because I would say this, when as I told you, I've been here for many a piss up, but on a Friday, like this is analogous to like not a rave, maybe that's too strong, but there's like a feeling like that when it is raucous, righteous. It's those
intangible,
things.
but it's definitely some sort of vibe, isn't it?
Yeah, and what would you say?
It's always about the people. It's always about the people that are there and how they feel and how they're made to feel. And if everybody's happy in a room, it's contagious. It kind of feeds in, and we try and do that and try and facilitate that at least as much as we can.
Espressos is sponsored by supply chain software gurus Unleashed. It talks to your e-com and accounting software. It's helped islands cut admin time in half, get granular clarity on your margins, know where your stock is, don't miss availability. Brands like Candy Kittens, Tiny Rebel and Trip all use Unleashed, and so should you.